Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Daria, and in today's yoga practice, we will be working on transitioning with grace. So at this time of the year, with the season changing, the days getting shorter and colder, I find personally that it is a helpful time to be very mindful of mental health and the way that these transitions and changes impact well-being and functioning at a holistic level. So in this practice today, we'll be working more with the physical transition in the physical body from posture to posture, and really breaking down with detailed alignment how we can transition in a way that feels graceful rather than clunky. So for this class, if you do have yoga blocks, grab 2 and have them at the top of your mat. If not, you can find something that you do have that's a similar shape and size, or you're welcome to try this practice without blocks too. Whenever you're ready, let's go ahead and get into it. We'll start today quite simply in an easy seat, Sukhasana. So find your way to something that feels comfortable. Let it be spacious. Let your knees fall open. Let your sitting bones act as anchors. And then from those anchor points, begin to lift your spine. Let your heart be open, shoulders fall away from your ears, and then soften your eyelids. Take a couple of moments here to feel your full body. Try to go in and feel every little cell, every fiber, every organ, starting from the crown of your head, and then work your way down into your face, your neck, your shoulders, down the arms to the tips of your fingers. From your sternum, down into your core, your belly, your pelvis, then down the legs, all the way into feet and toes. And start to observe any sensations that you're feeling in your physical body right away. And observe the quality of your breath. Are you breathing shallowly? Is the breath coming from your chest? If so, can you begin to deepen? Carry the breath all the way to the base of your pelvis, and then let it flood your body. Let it be like a bath for your system. So let's all take a big inhale together, breathing from bottom to top, filling up the torso. And then take a big sigh out through your mouth. As you sigh, soften your shoulders. One more time like that. Take a big inhale, gather and collect any information that you're processing from the day so far. And on the exhale, let go of anything you don't need to hold right now. You can take as many of those open mouth exhales as you really need, and then continue to incorporate them throughout your practice when you feel them coming through, when there's something that you want to let go or release or clear. Take a couple more moments here just to simply feel, to observe your experience, soften your mind, and start to let go and drop any expectations for your practice today. Any ideas you have of what this should be, what this should feel like. Just let yourself be as you are. And this can really be a relief. It can take the pressure off. And begin to bring in Ujjayi breath if it's in your practice. Inhaling and exhaling through your nose, breathing along the back of your throat to create that oceanic sound to the breath. Blink your eyes softly open, and then just draw your soles of your feet together to touch. Let the knees stay flopped open wide, so we're in a butterfly shape or bound angle, Baddha Konasana. Bring your hands to the fronts of your shins. Take an inhale to lift from your roots all the way up through your heart. Draw your shoulder blades together behind you. Create a little arc in your spine, and you can lift your gaze if that feels comfortable. Then on your exhale, pull your navel back and down so that you can round your spine, create more space in your vertebrae. 2 more. Inhale, lift from sitting bones all the way up to your heart. Gaze floats up to the sky. As you exhale, round and curl. You can pull on the fronts of your shins. Keep your big toes together as you hollow your core. Inhale. And exhale. And then cross at your ankles, roll over your shins, and find your way up to tabletop position. Really widen your palms and then anchor down all four corners, root all of your fingertips, really deeply dig your index finger mounds into the earth, creating a really solid hand lock so our foundation is supported. We'll move through some cat-cows. Inhale, tip your sitting bones up and wide, soften your low belly, then your rib cage, and then melt your heart down toward the earth. Then begin to traction palms toward knees, lift your gaze and curl your tailbone a bit higher. As you exhale, we'll start to hollow the core. Tailbone pulls toward the backs of your knees. Imagine that you're taking an ice cream scooper to your front body, so really hollowing it out. Then press the earth away to create a dome effect between your shoulders. Inhale, begin to ripple back forward into cow pose. Lift your gaze, lift your tailbone. Exhale, press the earth away, create more space between all of your vertebrae. Drop your head and soften the back of your neck. 2 more. Inhale for cow. Exhale, press the mat away, all 10 fingertips deeply rooted. Ride your breath. Inhale. And exhale. Come back to a neutral spine. Tuck your toes behind you. Re-anchor into the points down through your palms, growing roots there. Then we'll begin to lift the knees and super slowly, we'll transition back to downward facing dog. Micro bend your elbows, press down and forward through your palms, and allow this to feel really indulgent, stretching out your full body. Take your time gliding back. And then once you arrive, the movement doesn't stop. So start to feel any organic movements that want to express. This could be pedaling the feet. This could be taking any little circular motions or rocks with the pelvis side to side. Anything that you want to do, even ripples through the spine if that's coming through. Once you've played a bit, find steadiness. Press more down and forward into your palms. Then let your feet and your hands press away from each other, but keep hugging the midline by drawing palms toward each other and feet toward each other. Toes and fingers constantly seeking deeper rooting, digging you down into the earth, anchoring you there. Stretch your tailbone a bit higher and then invite your heart towards your thighs as you continue breathing, continue elongating, deepening your breath and sending it through the tangles and the knots down the back line of your body. As you inhale, lift your heels, round forward to high plank pose, hollow your core. And then once you arrive at the top, we'll hover in high plank. Press the earth more firmly away from you. Pull your pubic bone up towards your navel. Then exhale, micro bend knees and elbows, and we'll glide back to downward facing dog, leading from the sacrum. 2 more like this, be like a wave. Inhale, lift your heels. Ripple forward, so fluid, so sweet. Exhale, ride your breath back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels, round forward, high plank. Exhale, glide back, downward facing dog. Inhale, last time, ripple forward, high plank pose. Exhale, this time, bend your elbows into your ribcage, lower chaturanga. Then release your pelvis and your heart and your chin to the earth. Untuck your toes, press the tops of your feet down, press your pubic bone down, and as you inhale, we'll rise to baby cobra. Lift your heart, lift your hands, activate your back body. Exhale, plant your palms, tuck your toes. We'll glide either through tabletop or through high plank, all the way back to downward facing dog. As you inhale, lift your heels, charge your quads, round forward, high plank pose. As you exhale, lower chaturanga, then release pelvis, release heart, release chin. Try to keep your elbows magnetizing towards your ribs as you lower in chaturanga. Untuck your toes. Inhale, float your palms, stretch your heart forward, squeeze your shoulder blades to the back of your heart, and see if you can lift even more into the activation in your back body. Good. Then exhale, plant your palms, tuck your toes either through hands and knees or press right up to high plank and back to downward facing dog. One more time, just like this. Inhale, lift your heels, round forward, high plank pose. Exhale, lower chaturanga. Pelvis sinks, heart sinks, and chin sinks. This time, spider your fingertips to the wide edges of your mat. Let them be like little tents here, so they're lifted, but the fingertips root. Then press your toenails down, press your fingers down, press your pubic bone down. And as you inhale, we'll rise all the way up, peeling the whole front body away from the earth. If you feel any crunching in your low back, release a bit. But as you inhale again, carry the breath from the base of your pelvis to your heart. Then on your exhale, shoulder blades hug the back of your heart. Spin your biceps to the top of the mat and just breathe. Take a breath here to feel really expansive, open, lengthened in the front line of your body. And then as you exhale, release everything back down, but let it be more forward than where you started so that it's like you've grown. Plant your palms, tuck your toes, press up to high plank or come through hands and knees, and then glide back, downward facing dog. Begin to root more deeply into your left toes, and as you inhale, sweep your right leg high, three-legged down dog. Then stack right hip over the left, bend your knee. Take a few easy circles with the right knee in both directions. Stay pressing evenly down and forward through both of your palms. If you haven't yet, reverse the direction of the knee circles. Keep a micro bend in your left knee. Then square your right hip bone down toward the earth. Pick up your right toes. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, lift your left heel really high. Hug right knee into your chest as you hollow your core. Press the earth away from you. Curl your right heel towards your right sitting bone. Then, as softly as possible, step your right foot to your right thumb. And then sink your left knee down. So this is the transition we'll be working with a lot today, stepping really softly from three-legged down dog into this low lunge. From here, inhale, sweep your fingertips overhead, magnetize right heel and left knee. Then exhale, melt your hips a bit down and forward, digging deeper but keeping length in the spine. Root your left palm down to the mat. Tuck left toes if they're not, pick up left knee. Right arm sweeps up overhead, easy twist. As you inhale, hug your feet toward each other. This helps to shift the outer right hip back and the left hip forward. Then on your exhale, keep length in your spine and begin to revolve your left rib cage towards your right to curl your heart up toward the sky. On your next inhale, extend through all the lines. As you exhale, circle right fingertips around the top of your mat. Root them about a foot in front of your right toes, then step the left fingertips up to meet them. We'll begin to shift forward into the right foot, so just the very, very tip of your left big toe is still rooted. Then press down from right glute to right heel to lift your left leg high. Inhale in standing L. As you exhale, curl your left knee in towards your chest, keeping the heel hugging your sitting bone. So you might connect your chin and your knee, or your nose and your knee, or your forehead and your knee. Then inhale, reach back long. Exhale again, curl into yourself. Just see if maybe you can bring knee and nose to connect. One more time, inhale, extend long, reach back through left toes, forward through crown of head. As you exhale, hover your left foot off of the mat, hips distance away from the right, don't put it down. Suction your left foot up into your body. or your left leg bone, that is, up into your body. Then we'll softly land the left foot down, hips distance away, and find a Ragdoll Fold. And we'll take a few breaths here to explore. So you can bend one knee and the other. Any arm variation that you like is great. And just soften your breath. Try to find some surrender and drop down into the earth. Melt your feet, melt the crown of your head. And then reground your fingertips. Take an inhale to find a halfway lift. Stretch your spine evenly forward and back. Then exhale, root fingertips down. Step into your left foot. Right toes go long and back behind you. Bend your left knee. Root your right toes down. As you inhale, squeeze your feet toward each other and we'll float the fingertips all the way up overhead. High crescent lunge. Now here, micro bend your right knee as you tuck your pelvis a little bit more forward. Then imagine that there is a drawstring around your waist. Cinch it so that the ribs lift away from the pelvis. This will puff your heart higher, and then stretch your right leg back towards straight, but keep the heel floating right over the ball of your foot. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, bring your palms down to the mat to frame the left foot. Another tricky transition, we'll just play. All this is just play, so no pressure. Shift the hips back so the left leg draws straight or straight-ish, and we're high onto the ball of the right foot. You can be on fingertips here, or you can press your palms down into the mat if that's accessible. Take an inhale to elongate your spine. On the exhale, press the earth away from you, hollow your core. Can you pick up the left foot to hover? And maybe glide it back to downward facing dog, or just step back, nice and easy, down dog. On your next inhale, we'll sweep the left leg high, then stack your hip, bend your knee. Couple of circles in each direction, mobilizing the hip joint. The right knee stays micro bent. Keep digging your right toes down into the earth as well. Reverse the direction of your circles. And then we'll square the hips. Pick up your left leg from the inner thigh to point left toes high. And exhale, lift your right heel. Hug your left knee in really tight to your chest. The core is hollowing. Press the earth down through your palms and see how softly you can land left foot to the top of your mat between your palms. If it's not so soft right away, that is okay. All we're doing is just trying. Sink your right knee down to the mat. As you inhale, sweep your fingertips up on Junayasana, kneeling warrior. Exhale, settle the hips down and forward, but stretch your fingertips high like someone has a string connected to your index fingers and they're pulling them up. Then root your right palm down to the mat, pick up your right knee. Left arm floats up overhead. Turn so that your torso faces the left side of your mat. Maybe the gaze can float up to fingertips. Maybe even lean back just slightly as you revolve your heart toward the sky, but keep buoyancy in the legs by drawing your feet toward each other isometrically. One more inhale. As you exhale, revolve left fingertips all the way back to the top of the mat, about a foot in front of left toes. Right fingertips join. Then we will start to transition the weight forward into the left foot. Tip of right toe stays rooted, and then we launch forward. Left foot deeply roots, right toes reach back. Inhale, stretch out, standing L. Exhale, hug your right knee into your chest or your chin or your nose or your forehead. Inhale, stretch long. Exhale, one more time, squeeze in. Inhale. Exhale, float your right foot away from the mat, hips distance from the left. Stay here, don't put the foot down yet, just hover it. And then we'll softly land, melt the right foot down and fold, ragdoll. Again, staying for a couple of breaths. Maybe go for a different arm variation than the one you took the previous round, or you can stick with the same thing if that's really feeling good for you today. On your next inhale, find a halfway lift. Spine stretches evenly forward and back. Then exhale, root your fingertips. Step your left toes all the way to the back of your mat. Left toes come down, right knee is bent. Feet are like train tracks, so they're about hips distance away. Right knee over right ankle. Inhale, fingertips reach up toward the sky. Micro bend your left knee, tilt your pelvis forward, then stretch up even higher. It's like you're erupting. Carry all the grounding up from your strong legs into your torso so the heart can float. And then exhale, palms come down to frame the right foot. We'll shift the hips back. Right leg draws toward straight. Press your palms down. Inhale, extend your spine. And then exhale, maybe hover your right foot. Use your core and glide back to down dog or step back, whatever you need. Take an inhale. Lift your heels, round forward to high plank. As you exhale, ride your breath back, downward facing dog. Sink both of your knees to the mat, and we'll just sit back to the heels for a couple of breaths. You can bring the tops of your hands to your thighs so the palms are facing the sky. Close your eyes if that's okay, and just take a couple moments here. Try to be still and just notice, observe what's moving through your body, your mind, your thoughts. Maybe you are noticing as you continue practicing some patterns in the thoughts, some things where the mind gets stuck, or maybe places where the body gets stuck. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's anxiety. And whatever it is, without trying to change it or fix it, just build that awareness. Start to notice your individual patterns. And begin to blink your eyes back open. So we'll go 2 more rounds through this sequence, but this is where we'll bring in the blocks. So actually, this might kind of take some of the intensity off a bit. So we're gonna bring the blocks under our palms. You can kind of grab the blocks with your thumbs and your pinkies like this, especially if you have bigger hands than mine. That might be a bit easier for you. But make sure the palms stay really wide. So the shoulders are over the wrists. We'll find a tabletop and then tuck your toes and we'll glide back to downward facing dog. So this might feel super weird or different if you've never tried before with the blocks, but just go with it. Try to be open to this new experience. As you inhale, press your left toes down and reach your right leg high, 3-legged down dog. We'll skip the hip opening. Exhale, lift your left heel, hug your right knee in, hollow your core, and then softly land your right foot down between your blocks. Sink your left knee. So you may have noticed that with the blocks under your palms, you have a little bit more space. So it actually makes that transition forward perhaps a bit more graceful, a bit less abrupt. As you inhale, squeeze your inner thighs together, sweep your fingertips up overhead. Exhale, softly melt the hips down and forward, but keep the core connected. Then left palm comes down to left block. Pick up your left knee, right fingertips reach up, take your gaze skyward. Inhale here to extend beyond the boundaries of your physical body, reach really long. Then as you exhale, we'll revolve the fingertips to the top of the mat, about a foot in front of the right toes. So you can bring the hands off of blocks here. Then we'll launch forward into the right foot. Inhale. Exhale just one time, curl knee to nose. Inhale, extend it out really long. Exhale, softly land your left foot down, hips distance away from the right. Take an inhale for halfway lift. As you exhale, step into your left foot, bring your hands to your blocks and glide your right toes all the way to the back of your mat. Inhale, dig both big toe mounds down equally and rise your fingertips high. And then as you exhale, hands come to your blocks. Blocks can be at a higher level if you like, but Just be aware that they get less stable if you rotate them. So we'll pick up the hips. Right heel is floating really high. Press into your blocks. Can you pick up the left foot? Again, you might have a little more space, so this might feel a little less intense. And we'll glide or we'll step the left foot back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg sweeps high. Exhale, right heel lifts. Hug left knee to chest, maybe even to your nose. And then step your left foot down between the blocks. Just noticing the difference in sensation with blocks under hands. Sink your right knee. Inhale, sweep your fingertips up. Exhale, settle the hips down and forward. And then re-anchor your right palm down to your block. Pick up your back knee. Lift your left arm and gaze up with both of your eyes. Spiral your heart toward the sky. Keep navel drawing to spine as you revolve right ribs toward left. Inhale. Exhale, circle left fingertips to the top. Anchor them. Right fingertips come to meet them. Then energetically launch forward into your left foot. Inhale, stretch, 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 infinitely longer. Exhale, hug right knee into chest, chin, nose, or forehead. Inhale, extend, standing L. Exhale, right foot comes down, hips distance away from the left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, palms to blocks. Left toes step all the way to the back of the mat. Anchor them there, right knee is bent. Inhale, fingertips rise, high lunge. Exhale, palms to blocks. Shift the hips back. Outer right hip is pulling back, left hip is pulling forward. Left heel is high. Root your palms down. Try to dome between your shoulders. Press the earth away. Hollow your core. Pick up your right foot maybe, and glide back, downward facing dog. Keep the blocks. As you inhale, lift your heels. We'll round forward to high plank. And again, just notice, hover here in high plank for a couple of breaths. Feel how lifted you are. It's almost like you could just float here, hover here like you're suspended. And then micro bend knees and elbows, glide back, downward facing dog. Sink both of your knees to the mat, hips to heels. Bring the palms up to face the sky. Close your eyes and drop. If you want to take a sigh or clear the breath, whatever you need. And this time, pausing here, notice any activations that you're feeling in your core, maybe in your arms, shoulders, back, heart. And you might experience it as like a vibrating sensation or a buzzing or some kind of momentum or circulation. And then blink your eyes open and we'll go for our last round. This time we'll make a couple of fun little adjustments. So when you're ready, bring your hands back to your blocks. Tuck your toes behind you and glide back to downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts high. Exhale, hug your right knee in nice and tight. Sitting bone squeezes, or heel squeezes towards sitting bone, and then step right foot to the top, left knee lowers. Inhale, sweep your fingertips high. This time as you exhale, palms meet in front of your heart. Take an inhale to stretch your heart toward the top of your mat. On the exhale, hook your left elbow to the outside of your right thigh. Keep squeezing your right heel and your left knee toward each other. This will help to elongate the spine. It lifts from pelvic floor all the way up through the crown of your head. Then press your right palm down into your left. Open your right shoulder and maybe take your gaze up over your right elbow. Every time that you inhale, find something to grow longer, even if it's just an internal action, this idea of visualization of length. And on the exhale, find a bit of depth, whether that's internally or maybe it'll express a bit externally as well. Unhook your elbow and we'll revolve all the way back so the torso faces the top. Bring both sets of your fingertips down and forward of your right toes. Pick up your left knee and then we'll launch all the way into standing L. Take an inhale here, stretch it out. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, extend. Exhale, this time step the left foot all the way down, hips distance away from the right, and then maybe widen your feet just slightly further apart. If that means you need to move the blocks a bit to the side, go ahead and do so. We'll start to bend the knees deeply and we'll sink all the way into a low squat. And draw the palms to meet in front of your heart. So this shape will look a bit different for everyone. For some, the stance might be wider. Some might be more narrow. Your toes might be turned out or they might point forward. Inhale here, stretch your spine. Then reach your palms toward the top of your mat. See if maybe without using your hands, you can sink your butt all the way down to the mat. If you need blocks are there, you can place your palms to the blocks. And now we'll draw the hands behind the hamstrings and we'll just rock and roll the length of the spine. So roll all the way back and then up. A couple of nice and easy rocks. Feel your body weight massage the sides of your spine. And then start to build a bit of momentum. And when you're ready, see if you can rock all the way up back to your squat. So you might try a couple of times. Maybe go again, rocking back. See if maybe you can rise all the way up. If not, no worries. Hands to blocks. We'll find the squat shape again. Then fingertips come down, lift your hips, and find a forward fold. Realign your blocks as you're folded so that they're just outside of the knife edges of your feet. Inhale for a halfway lift. Then as you exhale, root your fingertips and we'll step the right toes to the back of the mat. Inhale to sweep fingertips high, high crescent lunge. Exhale, palms to blocks, pick up your hips. Float your left foot and glide it back to down dog or step back. Inhale, left leg lifts high. Exhale, lift your right heel, round your spine, hug left knee in, and step slowly to the top. Sink the right knee. Inhale, sweep your fingertips up overhead. Then exhale, palms come to your sternum. Inhale, stretch evenly forward and back through your torso. Then exhale, hook right elbow outside of left thigh. You can create a little bit of leverage from right elbow and left thigh. That connection, energetically press those points into each other so that you can revolve your ribs. Navel squeezes your spine. Inner thighs stay connected. Pelvic floor stays lifted. Take one more breath here. Inhale. And the exhale, we twist and stay a little deeper. Unwind, revolve back so your heart faces the top of the mat. We'll root the fingertips down, pick up your right knee, then launch forward into the left foot, standing L. As you inhale, pull your fingertips back towards your left toes, stretch everything out, longer, longer, longer. Then exhale, curl knee to chest. Inhale, extend. Exhale, right foot comes down, hips distance away from the left or maybe a bit wider, setting up in that squat stance again. And then we'll sink all the way down to Malasana. This time, let's take a rounded spine for a couple of breaths. So you can reach your fingertips forward, root them, and then curl, belly button hugs in and back. Create a stretch between your shoulder blades and down the whole back line of your spine. Imagine that the space of your low back is widening as you breathe into it. Then lift your head, neutralize your spine, stack your vertebrae, reach forward with your fingertips, and see if maybe you can softly sink down to a seat or hands to blocks. Hands come now behind your hamstrings, and we'll rock and roll. Rolling it back and forward. A couple more. And then, when you're ready, try to rise all the way up to a squat without using your hands. And maybe let's try one more time. Roll it back all the way up. Good. And if you need hands to blocks, of course, we'll find a forward fold. Realign your blocks to the outer edges of your feet. Fold from the hips. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, hands to blocks. Step your left toes to the back of the mat. Right knee stacks over right ankle. Inhale, press your toes down, lift your heart and your fingertips. Exhale, palms to blocks. Shift your hips back, press the earth away. Lift your right foot maybe and glide back, downward facing dog. Inhale, ripple forward, high plank pose, suction belly button to spine. Exhale, downward facing dog, recede all the way back. Drop your knees down to the mat. One more time, we'll sit back to the heels. Flip the palms up, close your eyes, and let that go. So notice if there are any negative thoughts or emotions that arise from trying some of these trickier transitions. Maybe things didn't go as you expected them to go or as maybe you wished them to go. And allow those feelings to exist and remind yourself that this is a process, this process of learning to transition with grace. Sometimes we do have to be a bit clunky in the process of learning. And blink your eyes open. And then we will roll all the way down to lie on our backs. So shift to a seat first. Let's take a block with us as we roll down. You can stretch your fingertips forward and then slowly lower one vertebra at a time, trying to keep the toes rooted, belly button pulling towards your spine. Then land your shoulder blades, land your head. Draw your heels in towards your sitting bones, pretty close so that you can tickle them with your fingertips. Then we'll lift the sacrum and we'll slide a block under the sacrum. So it's that point right kind of between your butt and your spine, not all the way down to the tailbone, but somewhere in between. Find what feels good for you. And we'll take supported bridge. You can flip your palms up to the sky. Try to keep length in your spine, so if you need to inchworm your heart a little higher, go for it. Close your eyes if it's comfortable. And then let yourself be fully supported by the block beneath you. Really give your weight to the block. You could stay here, or you can extend your legs out to the wide edges of your mat, letting your toes fall open. This will stretch a little more into the front lines of your hips, the inner lines of your legs. Notice if there is anywhere that is trying to protect your body, like any contractions that have come up. And try to just soften into them. Breathe into the tightness, slowly unwinding, finding something more open. Come back to really full breaths that flood every fiber of your body with this new and bright prana. You're welcome to stay here longer or begin to draw the feet back in if you lengthened your legs forward. Lift your hips just enough so you can slide the block out from underneath you and then melt your whole spine back down into the earth. Hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a big hug by wrapping your forearms around your shins. Take an inhale to really squeeze everything in. And then an exhale to expand everything out, melting into Shavasana. Let the transition from the more energetic physical practice to this rest be fluid and seamless. So settling right into stillness, dropping everything, every last bit of engagement and holding. Surrender fully into gravity. Feel the earth support you. And then rest. and start to gently call your awareness back. Let your awareness float from the crown of your head, again, all the way down into the tips of your fingers and the tips of your toes. You can spread it like butter so it's smooth and slippery and coats your whole body. And then, as the breath deepens, start to bring little movements back to your extremities. Roll one ear toward the mat and then the other. And then, as if it's the very first stretch of your day, like you've just woken up, stretch your arms back behind you, point your toes forward. Inhale here. And then let the exhale take you into fetal pose. You can roll to whichever side feels like it's the most open. Anywhere you want to go, drop your head, relax here. Press into your palms and find your way back to right where we began, a simple, easy seat. You can keep your eyes closed as you transition or find a soft gaze. Knees are wide, sitting bones root, chest is proud. Draw your palms to meet in front of your heart. Take a breath to notice any changes, any after effects of the movement and the breath and the focused attention. Take an exhale to release anything you don't need. And know that in this moment, in this present moment right now, everything is just as it should be. Everything is okay. Then lift your thumbs up to your third eye and we'll bow sweetly forward. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me today and for taking some time for yourself to do something nourishing for your body, especially during a time of transition, whatever that might be. We're kind of constantly in states of transition in some form or other in our lives. So if this practice felt challenging, I encourage you to continue to revisit it as these transitions will start to feel more intuitive and softer. But I hope you have a really lovely rest of your day. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you in the next class. And hey, if you're not subscribed to my channel, you can do that down below because that really supports me. Bye.